I'm an ex-Scientologist who spent 27 years as an active member of that group, most of that time working at its highest levels in the Sea organization. Yes, that is a long time, and I did learn and experience almost everything Scientology has to offer. Since leaving it 2 years ago, I've learned a lot more about my old group, and I've made a lot of videos about it. I'll probably be making quite a few more. Scientology does seem to be the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to ridiculous claims, harmful and destructive practices, and laughably bad public relations. But I thought it was time that I give a kind of final statement on this subject, something that could be easily digested in just a couple of minutes and would be a sort of summary of everything else that I've said before or will say in the future. People have asked me many times about whether there was anything good in Scientology or whether there was anything worthwhile I got out of it. My easy answer has been, well, of course there was good in it, because no one would stay involved in something like that for that long if there wasn't. But the real answer isn't quite that simple. You see, one of the biggest lies Hubbard perpetrated on his followers and gets away with to this day, even in the ex-Scientology community, is that he was the single source of Scientology. He drummed this in so hard that people in Scientology actually call him Source, saying this with a kind of worship and reverence that Hubbard completely does not deserve. It took me quite a while after I got out to realize that Hubbard was not only a pathological liar about himself and his own life, but he also lied through his teeth about having discovered Dianetics and Scientology. He used words like research and discover to give himself a legitimacy that he did not earn through hard work or real scientific research. Instead, he literally ripped off the work of others and pretended that it had come from him, or he just made things up. For anyone familiar with Dianetics and Scientology teachings, I'm not talking about a few suggestions that people might have thrown Hubbard's way over the years. I'm talking about the very fundamental basics of the subject. Things such as Dianetics procedure, which comes straight out of hypnotism and original Freudian practice. The idea that the basic unit of the universe is two, not one, comes from Buckminster Fuller, a contemporary of Hubbard who was cited by Hubbard in various places but only credited once. The study technology was not Hubbard's discovery. He flat out lied about this in the mid-60s after two English teachers who were also Scientologists presented it to him at St. Hill in England. Then there's the E-meter, which Hubbard tried unsuccessfully to rip off from Volney Matheson in the early 50s. When that didn't work, Hubbard told Scientologists they were unnecessary for auditing, and there were no E-meters in use from 1954 to 1957, until another Scientologist, loyal to Hubbard, figured out how to make them using transistors. Then Hubbard slapped his name on them, and suddenly they were his invention. When you look at the stark truth of this, you start to see that a lot of the good that Scientology provides is not really Scientology at all, but is plagiarized work from another source. So to answer the question of whether there is anything good to be gotten from Scientology, you first have to look at whether you are actually doing Scientology or you're doing something else entirely. So what kind of things did Hubbard actually invent or discover himself? Well, there's the totalitarian ethics and justice system he developed in the mid-60s, which demands total compliance with Hubbard's every word, lest you be labeled a suppressive person and cast out of the church forever. Then there's the whole system of disconnection, one of the harshest forms of shunning that exists amongst any religious group in the world. Families, friendships, and whole businesses have been torn apart through exact application of Hubbard's directions. And it doesn't end there. Hubbard also developed the Guardian's Office, which was responsible for carrying out his orders to ruin people utterly. Scientologist or not, if they dared to speak one critical word against him or Scientology. They call this practice fair game because they think that anyone who speaks against the church basically deserves anything that comes at them, and it's the Scientologist's responsibility to make sure that person suffers as much as possible. This is so well documented, it's not even a question that it happens, nor that Hubbard was directly responsible for ordering it in the first place. The Guardian's Office was caught breaking the law in one of the largest criminal conspiracies ever documented against the U.S. government. But did they learn their lesson and stop? No. Hubbard simply morphed the Guardian's Office into the Office of Special Affairs, which continues to carry on the tradition of fair gaming with campaigns of hate and harassment leveled against Scientology critics, including the people featured in Alex Gibney's recent documentary, appropriately titled Going Clear: Scientology and the Prison of Belief. Even church leader David Miscavige's own father is not exempt from harassment and stalking after he left the church's employment a few years ago. Any good that Scientology has managed to do over the 60 years of its existence has been completely eclipsed by the lies, fraud, and tangible harm it has brought to far more people than it ever helped. People are amazing, and they are capable of helping their fellow man in the most adverse of conditions under the most distressing of circumstances. That people have done that in Scientology is a testament to their greatness, not Scientology's workability. The help that came to people in Scientology was done despite Scientology, not because of it. In the end, Scientology has been and continues to be about one thing, and one thing only: making money for one man. At first, that man was L. Ron Hubbard. Now it's David Miscavige. Everything else is window dressing, designed to entrap and ruin the very people it's claiming to save. And that is Scientology. Thank you for watching.